Welcome back to my New York Jets franchise rebuild here on Madden 24. In the last episode, we went through the entire last offseason following a massive Super Bowl victory. Obviously, the goal this season is to try to get back and win back-to-back games, but first we need to get through this preseason. Now, I did go through and do a lot of the training camp drills. I did not do every single one of them, but we did do one with wide receiver Jalen Waddle, and he's going to get +1 to awareness, catching traffic, catching 2 to medium route, 1 to short route, 1 to speed, and 1 to spin move. Then we have superstar corner Anton Lane going up to an 88 overall, getting +2 to awareness, 1 to play rec, press, tackle, and zone coverage. This man had a breakout season last year. We are expecting a lot from him this year, and Brendan Rice is going to get +1 to awareness, ball carrier vision, 3 to break tackle, 1 to catching traffic, 2 to catching, 1 to juke move, and 1 to short route. Damian Bryant also gets a player upgrade here. He's going to get 4 points, and it's going to be 1 to block shedding, 1 to man coverage, 2 to pursuit, and 1 to zone coverage. This guy was an undrafted free agent last year, but came in as a superstar depth trait. I believe he's just now down to a star depth trait, but he is up to a 78 overall, getting +1 to awareness, man coverage, play rec, pursuit, and zone coverage. Running back Shaq Coles was our 3rd round pick in this last draft. He is now a 73 overall, getting +1 to agility, 2 to juke move, and 1 to spin move. But then last but most certainly not least, our franchise quarterback Jared McDonald actually has 2 upgrade points right now, so we're going to go ahead and start with field general, getting +1 to awareness, throw accuracy mid, and throw accuracy short. We're going to come back and go to field general one more time. Right now he's a 91 overall with his temporary boost, but he's going to get 1 more to throw accuracy deep, mid, short, and throwing under pressure. I do want to add before we really get into this, because of how good this team actually looks on paper, you can see we have a 92 overall rating. We are probably not going to watch too much of the preseason, but there are certain players that I want to see before we get into the regular season. Just to go over the roster before we jump into games, Jared McDonald, obviously our starting quarterback. We bring back John Cousins, who was on our practice squad the entire last season, but then we also brought in undrafted free agent Brian Howard, who is a 66, and then I also signed Geno Smith to be that mentor backup quarterback that I like to have on the roster. Between the offseason video and now, I did add 1 new addition to the team, and that is running back Joe Mixon. As of right now, he will be our 3rd string running back. We might see him a bit throughout the season, but mostly I want our backup to be Shaq Coles. And then we also brought in Randy Webster, who I believe was on our practice squad team all of last season as well. During the draft, I did use the final pick, Mr. Irrelevant, on Deacon Winston, a fullback out of Arkansas. Now, he does have some pretty solid ratings, but my main problem with him is going to come in at run blocking. It is a 55, so I don't really know if he's going to be able to stay as our fullback. He might be able to transition to like a power back, but I'm not even going to guarantee this guy will make the team right now. Over at wide receiver, I did add a few players here. We obviously have our top 3 in Jalen Waddle, Garrett Wilson, and Brendan Rice, but I did sign KJ Hamler to be a backup receiver just in case we start getting some injuries at receiver during the preseason. He may end up making the roster. I thought about making him our like kick return specialist. I don't really know yet. We still have Kyle Boykin. I did sign Zay Jones just because he seems to be a solid depth player. He also has that mentor player tag, so I really want to keep him around for the younger receivers. We have Spencer Colvin, who spent the entire last season on our practice squad. I did sign undrafted free agent Justin McKee. He has 91 speed, 92 acceleration. We're just going to see if he can find a spot on the roster. And then we obviously drafted wide receiver Arthur Holmes. We ended up taking him in round number 5. Probably a guy that's going to have to really fight for a roster spot. Now, for the tight end position, there will be a name here that you probably will recognize if you watched last season. Besides Brock Bowers, I brought back Josh Oliver. He has some decent blocking ratings. He can be a really good backup tight end for us. But we also have Justin Stark, who is in his 2nd year. And then we drafted Eric Crockett. Now, we did take him at the end of the 3rd round. So being a 66 overall really kind of hurts. Along the offensive line, we will have our starting left tackle, 2nd year man, Rasheem Whitfield, backed up by Matthew Benson. Benson was a right tackle until I switched him over here because I did sign a new backup right tackle. We will get to that here in a moment. At left guard, we'll have Elijah Vera Tucker, backed up by rookie Antoine Devine. Over at center is Raymond or Ramon Sloan. He is probably not going to be our starter because we took Mark Kuhn in the 1st round. He is a 75 overall with a hidden depth trait. Then at right guard, we got Trey Smith, backed up by Luke Dell. And then right tackle, we will have starter Will McGraw going into his 3rd season. And I signed Andrew Wiley to back him up. Jumping into the defensive line now, Jermaine Johnson will be our main left end, backed up by Elton Hardesty, who made a massive play in the Super Bowl if you did not see it. And then rookie Glenn Knight. At right end, we managed to sign Aiden Hutchinson in the offseason. He comes in right now as a 93 overall, backed up by Jonathan Greenard, who is a 76. And then at defensive tackle, we return our two superstar X-Factor guys in Quinnen Williams and Dexter Atkins, backed up by Kevin Patterson, Carlos Blakely, and Greg Blanton. The linebacker situation is a little bit weird because our outside linebackers really did not see the field that much last season. Danny Campbell, an 85 overall. He's backed up by Javier Hutchins, who's a 70 overall. Middle linebacker will be Damian Bryant. He is backed up by Grant Lipton, a guy that we just took at the end of the second round. I understand it was probably really high to take him, but he was a really good looking player, and he comes in with some pretty solid ratings. Then at right outside linebacker, we have Brian Walker, who is a 79 overall, backed up by a 75 in Cody Canfield, a 66 in Caleb Vance, and a 65 overall rookie in Kendrick Goddard. In case you had not noticed, I really did not sign that many guys off screen to the defensive side of the ball, but I did sign someone here. So obviously we have our top three in Sauce Gardner, Anton Lane, and Kyron Moody, but then we have Casey Pryor, and then we have Trey Brown, the guy that I brought in, who's apparently going to be injured for at least the first preseason game. That's cool to see. Then we have rookie Jordan Stackhouse, who we just took in the 4th round right at the beginning of it. And then we have Len Christmas, who was on our practice squad all of last season. We are returning both of our starting safeties, and Malik Hooker, he is backed up by Jamal Ballard, but our other starting safety is going to be second-year man George McLeod, who is an 88 overall going into just his second year. He is going to be amazing for us, I think, but he is backed up by 73 overall DeAndre Truman. And finally, we return both of our main special teams guys in Jake Elliott at kicker at an 83 overall, and then Tommy Townsend also an 83 overall at punter. Usually during the preseason, I don't go over our opponent's roster, but I do want to go ahead and highlight real fast that Jordan Travis is still on the Packers. He used to be one of our quarterbacks, was actually in a position battle to try to win that whenever Jared McDonald was a rookie and lost, so we traded him. And then their starting running back is another former New York Jet in Blake Corum. But like I said a minute ago, I don't really know how much of the preseason we are going to watch. I do know the main person I really want to pay attention to is Shaq Coles, our backup running back, because I want to know if it's a smart idea to have him as our backup instead of Joe Mixon. For our first possession of the preseason, we get to start at our own 10-yard line, and Brian Howard, the undrafted rookie, is in at quarterback, but I have taken out all of the starting receivers, but he's going to find Kyle Boykin on his first throw for a gain of 8. But as I was saying, all of the starting receivers have been pulled. They may end up finding their way on the field somehow, and then also Breece Hall has been pulled. So here goes Shaq Coles up the middle, and he's got the first down on his first official NFL carry. Alright, maybe it's not super official since it's the preseason, but you guys get the point. Now 1st and 10 from our own 22, and Howard with a quick throw is going to find his man. That's going to be a gain of about 7 yards. That pass was to Zay Jones, and I'm just now realizing I did leave Brock Bowers in the game, so I guess we'll give him at least that to work with. But that's going to be a play action. Now he's going deep downfield, and there is Brock Bowers for the first down out of bounds of the 44. Now Howard goes under center in an I formation. Coles is the running back. We give it to him to the outside. He gets some solid block, and Shaq Coles with another first down run. This one to the Packers 32. On the very next play, Joe Mixon would check into the game and get a 4-yard carry. So now on 2nd and 6 from the 28-yard line. Out of a 5-wide set, it's a quick throw caught by Boykin, who has the first down to the 17. Now here comes a 5-wide set. Brian Howard is back in shotgun all alone in the backfield. Will take the snap and look to go downfield. He's trying to escape the pressure, and he's going to get sacked on the play all the way back to the 26-yard line. Now it's a 2nd and 19. He's back in shotgun looking to make up for that last play. He's going to throw this one to the outside, and apparently Kyle Boykin's going to get really involved today. That's a 5-yard play. So now it's a 3rd and 14. He's back in shotgun again. Coles is in the backfield. Howard will drop back to pass, though. He's going to go over the middle. That's caught by Shaq Coles, and he's going to get close to the marker, but they do not give him the first down. 4th and 1. Well, despite the sack, I would say that was a pretty solid drive for an undrafted quarterback, and now Jake Elliott will give us a 3-0 lead. We got to see one drive from Brian Howard. Now let's get a drive from Brian Cousins. From his own 25-yard line, from under center, he's going to start with a handoff to, I believe, Joe Mixon right at, never mind, that is Shaq Coles, and he gets a 7-yard gain. See if we go back to Shaq Coles on this play, and yes, we will. He goes to the outside, cuts back in, has the first down, will be met and brought down to the 40-yard line. So far, 4 carries for 32 yards. Joe Mixon would check in on the next play and run for exactly nothing, so now it's a 2nd and 10. Cousins is lined up in shotgun. He'll drop back to pass again, dropping farther back. Has all the time in the world, finally running out of it, and is going to get sacked on the play for a massive loss. You have to throw that one away. That brings up a 3rd and 26 now. Cousins back in shotgun. Will draw back to pass again. They're bringing a heavy blitz. He's sacked, fumbles the ball, and the Packers have recovered this one. Not surprisingly, the Packers would score a touchdown, so now we're down 14-3. We come out in shotgun, that's a handoff to Coles up the middle, and he starts this drive with a 2-yard carry. Now it's a 2nd and 8. From the 27-yard line, Coles is still in at running back, and we go right back to him up the middle. He breaks one tackle and is brought down to set up a 3rd and 5. Cousins back in shotgun again. From our own 30-yard line, trying to avoid the 3-and-out. He will look to pass this time. He's dropping farther back. He goes over the middle, and that's going to be Zay Jones, if I can say his name, but he has the first down, but there is a flag down. Is this coming back? Personal foul, roughing the passer. It's not coming back. We're going to get an additional 15. That would move us all the way into Packers territory, where Joe Mixon would come in for a 2-yard gain. I believe Randy Webster is now checked in at running back, but Cousins will look to pass. Dropping farther back, throws on the run, finds his man for the first down. That is Zay Jones yet again. However, just a couple incomplete passes later, it is now a 3rd and 10. Cousins out of shotgun, will drop back to pass again. Needs to escape the pressure. He's going to get sacked again. He just has no, pocket awareness whatsoever. This will be the last drive of this game that we watch. With 2:08 to play here in the first half, I put Brian Cousins back in at quarterback. And he's going to go downfield, and he finds his man for the first down. Finally getting brought down to the 44. And I apologize, I combined the two quarterbacks' names. This is Brian Howard, but now on 1st and 10 with 2:02 to play. He lines up under center. He's going to take the snap. It's a handoff to Coles, who goes to the outside, and Shaq Coles will fight for about a 6-yard gain, officially taking us down to the 2-minute warning. So now it's a 2nd and 4. At about the 50-yard line, Coles is still in the backfield. He will drop back to pass. It's going to be a quick throw to the outside, caught by Coles, who gets to the edge. Will he fight for the first down? Yes, he will. Howard back in shotgun again. Shaq Coles is still the running back, but Howard will look to pass this time. Rolling to the outside. He's going to throw on the run, and that is going to be incomplete. The first incomplete pass of the day from him, and it's a drop. That's going to bring up a 2nd and 10 from the 46-yard line. Howard will drop back and look to go downfield again. He steps up in the pocket, avoiding the pressure, and he's going to take off for the first down, and finally brought down to the 28-yard line, an 18-yard scramble. The clock is still running, though. We have 2 timeouts remaining here in the half. Out of a shotgun set, Howard will drop back and look to pass again. Throws to the outside. That is going to be caught along the sideline for a gain of about 4 yards. Now a 2nd and 6. He lines up under center with Joe Mixon in the backfield. But he will drop back to pass. But Mixon could not hold that block, and he got murdered. That sets up a 3rd and 6. He's now back in shotgun again. Randy Webster is checked in that running back. He'll look to pass. He's throwing over the middle and just misses his receiver that time. Like I said, that was going to be the last drive of the game that we watched. We lose this one 27-9. I let Geno Smith just come in for the entirety of the second half, and the offense still really couldn't do anything. I will say that Brian Howard, though, looked really solid in his debut. Obviously never threw a touchdown, but goes 9 of 12 for 99 yards. And then on the ground, Shaq Coles got 9 carries for 48 yards. Well, like I said at the start, I wasn't sure how much of the preseason we were actually going to watch. We ended up going 1-2 in the preseason. I just simulated the last couple games, but I do need to go in here and cut 12 players. But this is what I get for not going into every single game and subbing out the starters. Breece Hall has a foot fracture and will miss the next 5 weeks of the season, so I guess Shaq Coles is going to get to start the year. Moving on to actually cutting some players, though, we're going to start with quarterback John Cousins. I'm not even going to add him to the practice squad. He is just straight up getting released. What I saw from Brian Howard, he looked a lot better. The first official player we are moving over to the practice squad is running back Randy Webster. We will also be moving a couple receivers over there, like wide receiver Arthur Holmes, and then over here Spencer Colvin is also headed down there. Moving on, KJ Hamler is not going to be making the team. I think it would be a better idea if we get that low on receivers to just go with Kyle Boykin over KJ Hamler. Now at tight end, I do like to carry 3 of them, so we're going to go ahead and move Justin Stark down to the practice squad. Defensive end Glenn Knight was a 6th round pick and is not going to make the final 53. He is also headed down to the practice squad. As we stay along the defensive line, we now head over to defensive tackle, where Greg Blanton will be going down to the practice squad. Moving on to the linebackers now, Caleb Vance will be heading down to the practice squad too. Now we still have 3 moves left to make. One of them will be Lynn. Christmas is going to go back to our practice squad. Circling back to the outside linebackers, we are going to be moving rookie Kendrick Goddard down to the practice squad as well. The final move we are going to make is putting fullback Deacon Winston down on the practice squad. I understand he has that hidden depth trait, but that 55 run block is just absolutely abysmal. But that is going to wrap up this preseason video for my Jets franchise rebuild. I understand it's probably not a very long episode, and I do apologize for that. but we will get to come back in the next episode and kick off this season against the New England Patriots.